Let's talk Your Place or Mine. It's a new rom-com on Netflix starring Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher. And it was written by Aileen Brosh McKenna, who's previously wrote The Devil Wears Prada, 27 Dresses, I Don't Know How She Does It, and she has story credit for Cruella. I like Cruella, and of course I love The Devil Wears Prada. I think that was her best produced screenplay. That one I really love. I read the screenplay, it's really good. I don't necessarily like her other work, quite frankly. And I didn't necessarily like this. She's written a lot of screenplays that have been produced, and this one seems like a step back for her because she's been doing it for so many years. This felt like someone wrote this who is just getting in the business. And I say that with all due respect because I know screenwriting is not easy. It's not easy to get them produced or even read. And so, but she's been doing this, she's been at this for a couple decades, and this just was a step back. Hello Sunshine, Reese's, I know she sold this, but she's still running that production company. Hello Sunshine produced this. But anyway, so she's like this helicopter mom who has a young son, divorcee, who's living on one coast in LA. And then you have Ashton Kutcher, who's a consultant as a day job, but really does love writing. He has written a couple of manuscripts that he didn't have any, he really didn't necessarily want sold. And anyway, published, excuse me. Anyway, and he's living on the opposite coast in New York. They have hooked up one time in the 90s, and but it didn't work out, so they remained friends, and for 20 years they have been communicating on Zoom or talking to each other every day, best friends, or whatever. And one day, Reese Witherspoon has to go to New York to for a class for this certificate to enhance her career. Reese Witherspoon's character's son has a babysitter who'll be watching him for the week, but she's an aspiring actress. I know this sounds wild. She's an aspiring actress and gets a role she didn't think she would get, but she gets this role. So she has to pull out last minute and not watch him. Ashton offers to watch him for the week so that Reese can get this certificate in New York. So they switch coasts, kind of like The Holiday a little bit. It was written that way. It aspires to be a lot like Nancy Meyers and Nora Ephron. I'll get into that. Anyway, and so most of this story unfolds with them on opposite coasts, and we learn more about their relationship and them and what they like through Ashton Kutcher's character's old girlfriend, who pops up at his house because she's been stalking him online and realizes he's not in a relationship. And on the other coast with Ashton and Reese's character's son. The issue, one of the reasons this doesn't work is because they've already hooked up, so and they're already best friends, so they don't have far to go. And I think that's one of the issues that we have in this film, aside from the fact that they're not on screen but for a couple of scenes. So the audience has to rely on its imagination that these two characters really do love each other. And the only way we can really imagine that is through the eyes of other people, her son and his ex-girlfriend, even though they are supposed to know each other because they've been best friends for 20 years. It's kind of a mess. Here's the biggest problem I have. The dialogue is a huge issue for me because the dialogue is pitched to us instead of the characters being developed and just inhabiting the character, divulging conversation to us based on who the character is, the being of the character, the essence of the character. We're explained the dialogue. And what I was getting at with the Nora Ephron and Nancy Meyers, I think Nancy Meyers and Nora Ephron know how to write best, know how to write seasoned women characters. Like, they develop their characters so much that the characters are supposed to say what they say. And I think that's where Aileen Brosh McKenna falls short. She's the writer, director, and producer of this film. She falls short because this dialogue, I feel like she wanted to, or I feel like it was written as if she aspires to be like those two writers, those two filmmakers. In trying to do so, she like lost her voice, or the characters lost their voice, because it seems like she was trying so hard for her characters to be like Nancy Meyers, The Holiday, or Nora Ephron's You've Got Mail. And it just falls flat. It's like we're being pitched like, okay, here's the concept and this is what they would say. It just felt like a first draft. It felt very first drafty. Like we should have never seen this cut of the movie. That's what I felt like. We don't know the chemistry between Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon, not just because they're not on screen together, but also even on their coast. Like I said, we're learning them through the interactions they have with other characters instead of with each other. Because even though before the movie, what we don't know, the backstory is that they've been speaking together every day for 20 years. But when they're on these other coasts, when they swap houses, they're hardly talking to each other. It's just very strange. It's not, it's difficult to get through. It really is, because the dialogue is drab. It's overkill. We don't see, and then, oh my gosh, the one thing I really hate is the airport scene trope. It's overdone even to this day. She tried to make it creative, because they're both flying back to their homes and they end up at the same airport, I guess because of the flight times or whatever. It's just so dated. That airport scene, like, I just hate it. Two tropes that I hate. Twins. One thing I hate about Glass Onion was the twin cons. I just didn't like it. Twins and airport scenes. Like, come on. Nothing's gonna date your film more than those. I mean, it's really bad. But anyway, this film is on Netflix. It's number 1 on Netflix, which isn't difficult to do, because people will throw it on and let it play like it's white noise. But I just, this is a step back. I mean, I understand that Reese wanted to do a romantic comedy. That's all great. Reese is coming off like a really good lick of great movies and projects. This seemed like a step back. Ashton's coming off I thought his performance in Vengeance deserved a supporting Oscar nomination. But anyway, he's coming off that great performance and, an appearance on that 90s show. This is a step back. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. It's not good. That's just the honest truth about it. But anyway, if you want to give it a go, it's on Netflix now.